is preposterous that they would send him to Africa, to a country where he doesn't even speak the language, a country with documented human rights violations, when there are so many other options. This family suffered enough. They need to stop trying to separate them. Everything that they've done to Mr. Abrego Garcia, they've done it for one reason, which is that he had the temerity to exercise his constitutional rights. So the government's decided to use the immigration system to punish him by sending him to Uganda. We're going to fight tooth and nail against any form of deportation to Uganda, South Sudan, Libya, any other, completely ridiculous country that they can come up.
Kilmar is our neighbor. You can't have him Trump. No! Kilmar is our neighbor. You can't have him Trump.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we got to follow up on a situation that I think that we spend way too much taxpayer dollars on, way too much time on for one illegal immigrant. And I'm hoping that this story comes to a close soon. Okay. Now, this story is involving Abrego Garcia, who is facing deportation. Okay, but he's trying really, really, really hard not to be deported. Okay, and I want to talk about this latest story, the latest developments in his story, because he was just recently detained again by ICE as he waits for his day in court for human trafficking charges. Now, he could be deported before that, right? He has the option to go ahead and get deported, right, before going to court, but clearly, he just doesn't want to be deported at all, even though he is eligible to be deported. And I think stories like this are a great example of the type of immigration system that Democrats want, right? And I'm going to explain to you guys exactly what I mean, because he's trying his hardest to take advantage of the loopholes in our immigration system. And that's essentially what this story is about. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Soft on crime, soft on illegal aliens breaking the law. Breaking news, Fox News' Bill Mallusian is just tweeting out, quote, Fox has obtained an email that ICE sent to Kilmar Abrego Garcia's lawyers, notifying them that ICE now plans to deport him to the tiny African nation of Eswatini due to Kilmar Abrego Garcia claiming fear of persecution and torture in about 22 other nations. ICE says this is hard to take seriously, what he's saying about these claims of persecution and torture. Julia, what do you make of this breaking news that he could be deported now to Eswatini?
No surprise. Eswatini, for your viewers' knowledge, is a tiny, tiny country on the east coast of South Africa, the southern coast of Mozambique. Very, very small. But, Democrats have been rallying around Abrego Garcia. This guy had two hearings in 2019, 6 years ago, Liz, before immigration judges at the Justice Department. And in both instances, they said he's not only deportable, but he was, at least in the appeals case, that he was a member of a violent gang. So the fact that Democrats have circled around and sort of valorized this guy puts them again on the wrong side of the immigration issue, as they have been on the wrong side of the crime issue. And the reason that I think so many voters are not with Democrats today is because they see Democrats as tearing down things that are important: law enforcement, closed borders, sort of gender rules, on down the line, and all these cultural issues. The Democrats have become in large part a nihilist party that tears down things that most voters think are important. That's why they are in the dumps when it comes to the polling.
He's accused of beating his wife. He's accused of human smuggling from Texas to Maryland. He's been in basically the Democrat zone as somebody to support and to back. This is as Illinois governors J.B. Pritzker is telling people to protest against law enforcement if law enforcement, as Trump is saying he will do, comes into Chicago to stop rampant crime and to deport illegal aliens in Chicago as well. There's an estimated 550,000 illegal aliens inside Chicago. It's being tormented by dozens of gangs, 134,000 gang members in Chicago. So there's support.
Yeah, this is why I'm so annoyed by the fact that we're spending so much time on one dude, right? We have so many illegals. But again, I think this case get so much attention because it represents, in my opinion, everything that's broken about the deportation process, right? Why is it that it's so hard to execute on mass deportations and to get the illegals out of the country? It's because of stuff like this, okay? I mean, first and foremost, he was deported back to El Salvador, his home country, right? After being found deportable, right? He can be deported from the country, but just not to El Salvador, because he claims that, well, if you deport me to El Salvador, then, you know, I'm scared, right? I could get hurt. Now, do those same conditions exist today? No, right? We know that El Salvador today is a lot safer than it was back then, right? So those conditions have completely changed, right? Like, fear of returning back to El Salvador should not exist anymore, right? It's not a gang and crime-ridden country anymore, right? It's not. So the court ruling saying that, yeah, he can be deported, but not to El Salvador. Yeah, that El Salvador part, yeah, that should be null and void now, right? Because, again, the conditions have changed. The story should have ended with the dude being deported to El Salvador, his home, okay? That should have been the last that we've ever heard about this guy, okay? But unfortunately, because Democrats decided that they care about illegals more than they care about the actual, you know, well-being of the American people, that they were going to fly to El Salvador in order to try to save an alleged human trafficking, wife-beating MS-13 gang member, right, who's in his home country, right? He's back in his home country. And they want to bring him back to the United States of America, not a United States citizen. And the media made a huge deal about it. So the Trump administration brings the dude back to face human trafficking charges, right? And then says, hey, we want to go ahead and deport you to a third-party country. If you want to plead guilty to these human trafficking charges, then you can go to Costa Rica, right? You can go to a nice country that, you know, speaks the language that you speak, because apparently, according to his lawyer, he can't be deported to Uganda or Africa, any African country, because of the fact that he doesn't speak the language. Even though he doesn't speak the language of the United States of America, he doesn't speak English, right? For whatever reason, that is a reason why he can't be deported to Uganda, which essentially DHS says that that's what he'll be deported if he chooses not to take the plea deal, right? That they're going to send him to Uganda. Now, again, the problem, okay, is that Abrego Garcia is now claiming that no matter where you send him, right, that's not the United States of America, doesn't matter where, he's scared, right? He's scared, okay? So this is what DHS have put out, okay, about this situation, okay? Abrego Garcia apparently is afraid to go to 22 different countries. He's saying that he fears persecution or torture in El Salvador, which we know, again, that's not true anymore. Uganda, Mexico, Belize, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Panama, Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Peru, Uruguay, Venezuela, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Haiti. Basically, any country that is not the United States of America, this dude refuses to get deported to, right? That's it. That's it. He just doesn't want to be deported. And see, in the ideal world that Democrats want, right? Each and every last one of these countries that this guy claims that he's afraid to be deported to, he will have a full case adjudicated in court for each country, in which he would be able to get unlimited appeals if it just so happens that his fear of persecution and torture is found to be unbelievable, right? If the judge said, hey, this is not enough, you got to be deported, Democrats are going to want an appeal for every single country that this man is claiming, which means that essentially it would take forever for him to actually be deported, right? Effectively, he'll just be allowed to stay for years, decades, as his claims of fear are worked out in the court system. And Democrats will tell you that, well, you are against the Constitution. You're against due process. If you think that, hey, you know what, maybe he shouldn't be allowed to just arbitrarily claim that he fears being deported to all of these countries, even though he doesn't have any real reason to fear it outside of just not wanting to be deported from the United States of America, right? Democrats say, oh, you don't believe in due process if you say that, hey, you know, he should not be allowed unlimited appeals when it comes to this stuff. At some point, we got to say enough is enough. You had your day in court, which this guy did twice. You've been found to be deportable, okay? And you're going to be deported, right? That's just the reality of the situation. You do not have a right to stay here. But again, Democrats believe that this guy, that people like him, have a right to stay here in the United States of America and to have unlimited appeals. Unlimited appeals, aka they can't lose, right? It's essentially amnesty. That's what it is. And I think that's why this situation is so ridiculous to me, because I think, again, it highlights just how easy it is to take advantage of our immigration system. This is how easy it is. All you got to do is say, oh, I just fear being deported to any country. I got to fear persecution and torture. 22 countries, right? 22 countries. And again, Democrats think that he should have a court case for each and every last one of them, right? And unlimited appeals for each one. For all 22 countries, unlimited appeals. Hearings for all of them. Millions of taxpayer dollars spent. Decades of this man just able to stay in the United States of America, just waiting it out, right? Waiting it out. Appealing. That's what they believe. So with that being said, I just want the Trump administration to go ahead and do it, right? Go ahead and do what you got to do. Go ahead and deport this individual to Eswatini, right? Which is in Africa, right? Go ahead and do it, right? Go ahead and do it, okay? Get it over with. That way we just stop talking about this, okay? It's a story that goes away and we can focus on other illegals. And if Democrats continue to boo-hoo, whine, and cry about it, who cares, right? Let them go to Eswatini, let them go to Africa and go save them and try to bring them back to the United States and have them be arrested for smuggling illegals, trafficking illegals into the United States of America, right? So again, that's where I'm at this point. Let them cry, let them go to Africa and try to save them, and that's how they feel. But we need to go ahead and get this guy deported and move on, right? It doesn't make any sense for us to continue to spend so much of our taxpayer dollars on one individual, on one illegal immigrant that clearly should be removed from the country, but yet you have all of these activists trying to keep a gang member, an alleged human trafficking wife beater here in the United States of America. It doesn't make any sense. It's crazy to me, right? It's crazy. So again, the point of this video is for people to understand just how easy it is for these people to take advantage of our system. And that's what you're witnessing right now with Abrego Garcia. That's why it's so hard to execute on these mass deportations, is because the Democrats' idea of due process basically is unlimited appeals, right? Unlimited appeals, okay? Unlimited chances. They could just stay forever. Soft amnesty, okay? That's what it is. And that's what they're trying to give to Abrego Garcia. And this is why the administration needs to stop playing games and to go ahead and send this guy wherever they're going to send him and be done with it, right? Be done with it. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.